Hello and welcome to Tracy Mommy Reads. I'm back again with another video. Today I'm going to be talking more about the ABC challenge that I mentioned with my first video of the year. I talked about how I was going to participate in that this year. And for those of you who are not familiar, essentially all it is, it's not something like official or whatever, or maybe it is, I don't know. I've seen it floating around, on Instagram before, Facebook, all the socials. And all it is, readers challenge themselves over the course of the year to read a book title that starts with every letter of the alphabet. So, and I don't think it has to be any particular order or whatever, but, just as long as before the end of 2026, you read a book that the title starts with an A, or a B, C, D, all the way through Z. And admittedly, once you get towards the end, it gets harder and harder to find titles with some of the letters. I personally have already charted out titles that I'm interested in reading that start with every single letter of the alphabet. A lot of people try, and I guess this makes it even more of a challenge to challenge yourself. They try to avoid titles that have the word "the," right? Opting instead for books that first word starts with the alphabet. So like, let's say if for the letter S, you see a book and it's called The Swan, a lot of readers might stay away from that because technically the first word in the title is "the" and it starts with a T, right? They'll look for something else. No, I have a handful of books on my list that start with "the." But I'm taking the second word because I'm not going to stress myself out about that, okay? Because I'm trying to do double duty here by not only, reading titles with the alphabets, those alphabets, but there are also titles that I want to read, that have either been on my TBR, or I even have some for books that are slated to come out this year. Now, if other things come out or I come across a book I didn't know about, and I may or may not slot them in there if it helps alleviate the problem with having the or the at the beginning of the title. So what I'm going to do today, I've actually already read, as of the recording of this video, I've read 3 books that I can count for the list, and I'm in the process of finishing up another one that probably will be finished by the time this video comes out. So I'm just going to share some of my titles. I won't share all of them, but I'll share some of them for maybe anyone else who's watching. If you are, thinking of doing the challenge, or if you're struggling with some letters and you're trying to, find a good book to slot for that particular alphabet, look no further. You can totally take some of these title ideas if you want to. So I've actually read A, B, and C already. And a couple of the books I will be talking about more on the chapter. Actually, one, I think next week I'll be talking about it. But so far for A, I read the book All Her Fault. And that book, actually, that has a series on one of the streaming services that I don't have, and I don't plan on watching it. The book was really good, and I know just from the limited information I've gotten about the series that the biggest difference is that the book takes place in Ireland, but the show takes place in America. So like, it's the same storyline, but they've just chosen to use America as the backdrop and Americans as the characters. But yeah, that book is really good. This kid goes missing from the school pickup, and it's like an affluent type neighborhood where a lot of times the nannies go and pick the kids up, and this woman thought her son was going to be at a play date, and when she went to pick him up, he wasn't there. And then that happens like in the first chapter, and it's just kind of like fast paced from that point as, you're searching to find this kid, as to what happened. And when that twist was crazy. The twist was crazy. It was really fast-paced, engaging, and I can't even imagine, like, in the book how they were able to maybe adapt that for television, because I think it's a series. I don't know if it was limited run or if they're going to continue to try to have other seasons or not. But the book was very good. All Her Fault. And I'm going to put the book covers here. I'm like looking at my list from my Kindle, and some of these I can't remember the authors, so you'll see the authors on the book titles like in the side by side that I'm doing. Best Offer Wins. That was a book that I got from the Book of the Month Club. So that was my B, Best Offer Wins. And that book was unhinged. Well, the character, the main woman in the book, she was unhinged. And essentially what it was about is this couple who they're like searching for like the perfect house, and the woman, she's definitely way more invested than her husband. It sounds like I've talked about this maybe when I was talking about my TBR or something at the first of the year, because I'm having a very strange sense of deja vu. So excuse me if I have already told y'all what this one was about, but she's just like hell bent on getting the house of her dreams and will stop at nothing to get it. Okay, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. And then for C, I finished up the Confessions on the 745. Now I do remember the author of this one because it was my most recent read, Lisa Unger. And I had read a short by her, like a Christmas short or novella that I thought was really good. So I was like, oh, I'm going to, have to get into some of her longer work. And it was a good book. I don't know, like the motivation at the end. Sometimes I feel like authors try to, like, for shock value, but does it make sense? It involves a woman who goes missing, a nanny who goes missing. There's grifters involved. People are not who they seem to be on a lot of different levels. It was good, but like I said, I don't know how I feel about how we wrapped everything up and the reasoning behind it. I would love to see the character. There was a character by the name of Anne. I would love to see her again, like, to see if she was able to truly get her like happily ever after or whatever she was looking for. But other than that, it was pretty fast paced as well, and it kept me engaged. I'm still kind of marinating on that ending. And so I've had like the ABC, and I skipped around because now I'm reading a book called Unconditional by Shon, Shon, it's one name authors. And I'm going to slot that for you. So see, I'm like reading them totally out of order. I'm not like going, oh, let me do the D next. Because again, I'm a mood reader. So I'm going to try to stay with the list when I'm looking for my next read. But I'm just going to, oh, here's a romance. I want to read that. Or no, I'm in the mood for a mystery. So I don't want to like tie myself down to having to read these in any particular order. Because I feel like, I'm just not that structured, and then it'll feel like a chore. Like, when you're in school, you had to read certain books so that you can do a book report. No, I'm still trying to do enjoyment out of this, and I have like the rest of the year to get it done. I'm going to read way more than these 26 books, but I don't feel the urgency to get them all done, in the first quarter. If I do, okay, but if I don't, as long as I get it done before December. So let's talk about it. I'm going to go down to so for Z, the book that I have slotted here, I actually bought this book back when I was still going to Target, like 2 or 3 years ago. And I couldn't get into it at the time. I know it's going to be good, but I just was in a different mind state. And that book is called 0 Days by Ruth Ware. I'm going to pick that back up. It's on my shelves. Oh, look, here it is right here. Yeah. So this is going to be my book for the letter Z. And it essentially finds these security penetration experts, not unlike hackers, but I think her husband's more of the hacker, and she like actually goes into buildings to see if she can thwart their security, and then they try to, they help them find ways to secure the security. So it's like, if I could have broken here, and this is where you have some weaknesses and this is what you should do. But yeah, she goes to a job, she does the thing, and her husband, he does the hacking part, the technical part from the house by the computer, and she's physically there. But when she comes home, he's dead. And yeah, things take off from there if they try to figure out who did it, right? And if she's in danger. So 0 days, I'm gonna pick that one back up this year and slot that for Z. For X, now this one worries me because I had selected this one, and I actually thought it came out on Christmas Day, or that it came out in December, and I was so excited. I was like, oh, I'm gonna put this on here. And like, before I started Unconditional, I was like, let me go see. I may go ahead and start reading this book. If you're familiar with Jaquel, I think that's how you pronounce it, Jaquel J. She writes in the urban fiction, genre. But I read a book of hers called 10,000 Hours with the Rich Menace that I really enjoyed. And she's doing, it's going to be a series with the Caselli siblings. So Menace, or Maverick Caselli, was the main character of that one. Then his brother Don Landon, but they call him Don. He has a book, and then the sister, I think Cora, was supposed to be getting her book, and it was called XO, like Hugs and Kisses. So I was like, that's perfect, for X. The book is gone. Like how like authors will have coming soon, or pre-orders or whatever, where you can see the book like as a title on Kindle, and it's gone. So I need to do some more research. So I'm hoping, number one, that she didn't just decide to cancel it. Hopefully she took it down, or she's reworking it and she doesn't know when it's going to release, and hopefully it releases this year. And it's not a case where she's like, oh, I'm not going to release that book at all. And then I also hope she didn't change the title, because I'm being selfish, because that's going to mess up my list. Because then I'm going to have to go find something else with an X, which is going to be, I'm sure, very hard to find. So if you know anything about that book or what's going on with it, let me know in the comments. For, let's see, Q, I have 2 books, Quiet by Fern Cotton, or I may do Quiet is Kept by Tracy Gray. So those are 2 Q books. It's weird. They both have the word quiet in them. And then this is just an example of what I was talking about with using the, or the, however you say it, in your dialect. But The Perfect Ruin is my P book. And, the word perfect is in there. To me, that's really the first word. Because what is that? Like THE, it's called something. I have to look it up and see what part of speech or what type of thing that is. I don't know that. I mean, obviously it's a word, but it's like a beginning sentence thing that I don't know that, should be counted as a word in the title that starts with that, So. Whatever. For O, I've been hearing so many mixed thoughts about it, but I have this book over here, One of Our Kind by Nicola Yoon. I need to get to it, So, like you can already see, I'm trying to like go with books that I haven't read that are on my shelf that's what I did first. I went down and I just like typed in, I don't know if you can see, I typed in, I almost dropped it, like each letter. And then I came to my shelf and filled in my to be read books in these slots first. Because it's like, if you're going to do this, you best well go with what's on your shelf. So hopefully I can get to that one. And like for M, Tia Williams has a new book coming out. I don't know when this book comes out, if it's like in the spring or early summer, but it's called Missed Connection. So I already have that slotted for M because I'm definitely reading that one. Oh, for V, I have, and I had started reading this one, and this is again will help me to revisit and to finish up stories that maybe at the time I wasn't in the mood for. But Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice, it's a series, but I think I'm just going to do that first book because, as I understand it, they're pretty much standalones. This woman, she's a shopkeeper. She has this shop in, is it in San Francisco? Wherever it is, she comes downstairs because she like lives above the shop one day, and there's like a dead person in her shop, right? So then she tries to unravel this mystery of who is this person, how did he get here? I think he had a letter or something in his pocket. So the author has made that into a series where I think Vera is dealing with different things in each book. So I'm interested enough that I do want to get through the first book. I mean, I know who you are. That's the book I'm going to do for that one. H, there's a book called Haven't Killed in Years. This book has been requested through the Libby app since last year. And I think they told me it was going to be like a 20-week wait. So hopefully it becomes available this year and I can knock that one off. I'll do a couple of more. Anna Wang, you know, she's doing that series with the Kings, and the next one, King of Gluttony, comes out this year. So I have that slotted for K. For W, we don't talk about Carol. Definitely getting into that one probably before the end of February because I've been hearing a lot of great things about that one. And then for J, Just the Nicest Couple by Mary Kubica. I don't know how you say her name. So yeah, so that's just some of the titles that I'm going to be reading this year at some point for the ABC Challenge. I'm excited to do a challenge, I guess, because I don't usually participate in those types of challenges. You know, I do the reels, the book talk things where they're like, show me your thickest book, show me your purple book. Like I've done little cutesy things like that. But as far as like, you know, read a book, you know, from an international author, read a book on the year you were born, read a book, you know, like they have all kind of challenges and, you know, you can Google them. There's a plethora of them. This will be the first one that I'm doing. And I will be sharing my updates and stuff with you guys here on the channel every now and then. Because I have a graphic that I created and I'm just putting the book covers, you know, in the slots until we get it filled up like a bingo card. So yeah, let me know if you've done the ABC challenge or if you're in the process of doing it, and maybe share a couple of your titles with some of those harder letters that you know, someone may be able to kind of piggyback off what you're doing. Share them in the comments. And if you have a book, just in case my X falls apart, put an X title in the comments as well. That would be, you know, fantastic. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video and go ahead and take the opportunity to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. Thank you to everyone else who is already subscribed. I sincerely appreciate you. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.